gift to you guys today. We're not going to get through it all, but to help you ascend of the mind, to comprehend why class is so important and how it helps you out. What is the difference between the lowercase I versus the capital I? The lowercase I is very significant as it identifies the man with the head versus the corporate fiction, capital I. What is the name versus a name? The name, proper case, is what the man goes by versus the all capital letter, which is a corporate fiction and title. What is mankind? Mankind is a version of man, not the original man. What is a woman or man? God's creation. What is a law versus what is legal? Natural law, God's law versus man's legal law, which is otherwise identified as a fiction. Now, there are times that man's law is in harmony with God's law and is completely acceptable in that fashion. There are times where suit and tie wearing individuals have come to terms with God's law and then turned around and written man's law to mimic God's law, but they are in harmony, so it is in fact law. What is a right versus citizens' rights? A God-given right, an unalienable right, only comes from the Creator versus privileges that are granted to citizens. So citizens don't have rights, they have privileges. How does a man have rights? A man has unalienable rights from God, the divine, the creator, the grantor-trust relation. Okay, now the grantor-trust relation I talk about is a construct, okay? But as I articulated in earlier videos about the Bible being the original book of trust, you can see the grantor-grantee relationship in Genesis. What is self-governance? Self-governance is what men and women should be doing within their own homes, communities, before allowing government to govern, all right? Consent of the governed. If you are not of sane, sound mind and cannot handle your own affairs, then you need to be governed. And you shouldn't bitch about it because, well, the fact remains that you're uneducated to the point where you can't handle your own affairs, and thus the imaginary figment, Uncle Sam, will come to your aid, right? What is a government for man versus the citizens? A government for man is to serve man as public servants, all right? There are employees versus governing over the citizens without rights. Remember, citizens, U.S. citizens don't have rights. Y'all have privileges. And if daddy give it to you, daddy can take it away. All right, I don't know how else to put it. What is a wrong? A wrong is when harm has occurred to a man or a woman due to another man or woman trespass. All right? What is a trespass? Trespass is when harm has occurred to a man or a woman. What is a remedy? Remedy is when you remove controversy and return to honor. So let's talk about the two ways one can always remain in honor, because there are only two. Agree with thine adversary quickly, for the sheriff will scoop you up and the judge will place you in jail. So we agree quickly with thine adversary and we just pay the debt. That's one way of doing it. The second way of remaining in honor is to do a conditional acceptance. I conditionally accept the charges based upon proof of the claim. If they can prove their claim, then I'd be more than happy to. In the event they can't prove their claim, I must bring forward my counterclaim. So at the end of this, one of us will be made whole. What is dishonor? The opposite of honor, or to remain in dishonor without proving remedy or providing remedy or removing controversy, right? We always want to move for remedy. It's always our intent in good conscience, good faith, and for good reason to find a remedy for the controversy or issue that arises, right? What is property? A man or a woman or that which belongs to a man or a woman. Property, right? My offspring is my property, period. What is belief? Belief is the lack of knowledge. What does true mean? What you can back up with facts with firsthand knowledge. Okay? What is an agreement? A man or a woman making a contract, an agreement, an accord, a compact versus a corporation contract, which is a unilateral contract, which means there could have never been an ascension of the mind between two mutual parties, right? To mutually benefit each other. What does it mean to testify, give evidence, and first-hand knowledge? To make oath, not take an oath, but to make oath. Huge difference. What is an autograph? A man gives an autograph, your written name versus your signature, which signature is on a contract, okay? What is contempt of court? Civil, and second, criminal for man. Civil contempt is breach of a contract. Criminal contempt is a lack of action that has caused harm, all right, in the contract, not fulfilling the contract. What is innocent versus not guilty? Innocent is God's law, innocent until proven guilty. Not guilty is the legal jurisdiction. So a number of years back, the judiciary, no longer being the judiciary, moved the plea of innocent and abolished it. And now you have not guilty, no contest, and guilty, all right? But in the legal world, pleading to any of that automatically grants jurisdiction. And the reason for that is not guilty, guilty, and no contest are all in the legal spectrum. They're in a different jurisdiction because truly all men are innocent until proven guilty, not the other way around. Guilty until they can prove their innocence, which is what we have in maritime admiralty law. Please explain post haste. With great speed, urgency, you didn't just get noticed, it was posted. What is harm? A wrong that might be a trespass, okay? What is a court of record? Four corners of the paper. I keep asking people how many branches of government there are. Most people say there are 3 branches of government. I'm here today to tell you there are actually 4 branches of government. And people go, well, how did you draw that conclusion? It's not a conclusion, it's a damn fact, okay? Man created government to protect the posterity and for the betterment of mankind, for man benefit, right? And so man, naturally, he who creates as master is the 4th branch of government, and rightfully not the 4th, but the 1st branch of government. And when we choose to self-govern, then we can keep our employees in check. You see, I didn't create the law. I didn't perfect the law. The law has already been perfected. I enforce the law. I am the enforcer of the law, all right? And so often it is misconstrued that, well, Derek, you just don't have that authority. I just don't know what to say. How do you believe that you have that authority? Well, first, belief is a lack of knowledge, so I don't believe anything. I know that I am the authority. I know that I have a great responsibility. I know that I must complete my due diligence to keep things in order, and the status quo must remain. We as men are the alpha and the omega as far as government is concerned. So the 4 corners of the paper is how we keep them in check. It's how we hold our court for their trespass that has caused harm, whether it be through extortion, deceit, theft, bodily injury, where everything is recorded, not just what they choose. So in their courts, you will bring some facts and they will find some way to make it inadmissible in their court, even though those facts would liberate you. And I have learned this with firsthand knowledge, ladies and gentlemen. This is not an epiphany I had overnight. I have literally watched the court system disregard the evidence that would exonerate me. All right? And I fought like hell tooth and nail. That's when I realized these people are scumbags, right? So what is a court of record? It's the 4 corners of the paper. And the court of record records everything, just not what benefits the prosecutor and the magistrate so they can unjustly enrich their pockets. All right? Moving on. What is loss? Anything you had before and no longer have, that is a loss. Loss of property, and everything is property. What is robbery? A legal version versus lawful theft. All right? Robbery and theft are two different things. One is in the jurisdiction of the legal land, admiralty, maritime law, law of merchant, and the other is lawful, and it's called theft. Theft of what? Property. It's not a firearm, ladies and gentlemen. It was my property, and I want it back. And it caused me harm to not have it, right? Why? Because it was mine. What is theft? The lawful word for a type of trespass against a man or a woman. See, the legal version is robbery. The lawful version for a man is theft. What is to suffer? To suffer is to allow, to volunteer. You so often will hear these magistrates ask, well, did you suffer? Yes, I did. Great, case dismissed. Get out of here. Have a nice day. What does the term, my word is my bond, mean? To indicate that one will always do what one has promised to do, because your word is your bond, all right? What is a financial loss? Loss of your financial property, securities, chattels, rights. It's a legal thing, all right? You got to be able to differentiate between the two jurisdictions, right? The real and the fiction, the public and the private. What is to work? The lawful definition of what a man does to make a living, not earn wages, not create an income. It's what the man does to create a living. What is slavery? To be owned by another man or woman. What is to proclaim? To give notice publicly, all right? What is to say? To make an utterance. What is to state? To put something on the record. What is ask? Part of the notice which asks for remedy. What is a statement of fact? A written statement of your facts inside a claim, four corners of the paper, with your supporting evidence of how you've been caused harm or loss. This and this happened, right? And sorry about the pronouns, that's just how it's filled out. What does finding of facts mean? When the court is recording the facts presented, okay? Four corners of the paper. What does conclusion of law mean? Being my order because of the law being set with the statement of facts. What is an invoice? A list of fees for services or products given. What is a fee? The value or amount charged per service or product. What is a bill? A piece of paper with invoice fees, a true bill due in owing. An itemized list, ladies and gentlemen. What is a debt? Debt means you were given a bill, you didn't pay the bill. That now becomes a trespass by way of debt, okay? How can you owe something that is a positive accounting? It's not plausible, ladies and gentlemen. You can only owe something that is a negative accounting. A positive accounting shows that you owe nothing. But if there's a negative amount, that shows that there's something due and owing, doesn't it? Oh, the tricks they play on our mind. What is a wage? What a man earns for his labor. What is compensation wages? Payments that you give to an employee in exchange for work they do for your business. What is a tax to a man or a woman? Taxes for a man or woman are voluntary, period. What is domestic authority? It's not a right, it's an authority. Authority derives from the author, right? What is the boogeyman mind control concept? That there is some big government or agency when in fact it comes down to men and women making conscious decisions morally, ethically, in good faith, for good reason to govern thyself, right? What is law common to I? The law that is of I, the man or woman. What is a notice? It is a written correspondence from one man or woman to another man or woman stating the facts of harm and requesting remedy to create honor and avoid controversy. What is to restore? Return to the former condition. Return property to whom it's been taken from, right? Whether through theft, deceit, coercion, however it may be. What is the highest court in the land? The highest court in the land, ladies and gentlemen, and this may blow some of your minds, the court of I, man's court, my court. If I have reason to bring claim against you, my court is the highest court in the land. Not the Supreme Court, not the district court, not any of those other hoopla courts. My court is the highest, and I will prove that by my claim and my evidence of the facts and how I was caused harm by issuing the remedy and making sure that I'm made whole. Who enforces that? I do. No agent and agency is going to enforce that. The magistrate's going to sign off on it. Why is she going to sign off on it, or he's going to sign off on it? Is because it's true, correct, factual in its basis. Cannot be disputed, right? So the magistrate's just there to sign off. Here you go. There's your order. Take care of it. What is the highest court in the land? We already went over that. What is a small claims court? It's a quasi-law common to I. How is civil court law not legal? Civil court is man to man. So your civil courts are mano y mano. And how is civil court not legal? Well, because the prosecutor is actually in a civil claim, but he doesn't actually have a plaintiff, so it's not legal. It's definitely not lawful what they're doing. It's identity theft. What is a law? Please give an example. Thou shalt not murder. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Thou shalt not trespass. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not cause harm. Thou shalt not engage in coercion, deceit, theft. Thou shalt not extort, right? These are pretty simple. These aren't concepts, ladies and gentlemen. These are law. I didn't perfect the law. The law's already been perfected. I merely stand upon it with conviction. Why notice before going to court? To avoid controversy, allow for remedy to stand in honor and to be able to press a claim. For a man always gives notice of his arrival. All right? So important. How does your notice make your case a claim instead of a complaint? You include the trespass, lawful, instead of a complaint of something legal, and your documents are structured as claims, not complaints, in the title headers. What is a magistrate? The man or woman acting as magistrate so that you can hold your own court and press your claims. They don't judge, they administrate, right? They administer. What is affirmation? A piece of paper that a man or woman is willing to affirm that they sent a notice on your behalf. What is controversy or dishonor? To be an honor, a man or woman has to remove controversy. Remember, there's only two ways of doing that. It's to accept and pay, or to do a conditional acceptance upon proof of claim. Both of them should be in writing and mailed out to the recipient. If they do not, they remain in dishonor. Conditional acceptance upon proof of claim or accept the charge and pay, these are the only two ways to remain in honor. What is a claim? What a man or woman brings forward in your court to prove your case against another man or woman. I, a man, Derek, was caused harm by way of trespass by John Doe, whom at times acts as Officer Doe by way of theft, coercion, deceit, extortion, falsifying a record. All right, pretty simple. Doesn't need to be anything more than that. What does it mean to press a claim? To bring forward your claim on record in your court to receive remedy to restore what? Your property. Rights and property, ladies and gentlemen, go hand in hand. What is a claim of trespass? A claim by a man or woman that another man or woman caused harm to property and which a magistrate would enforce. So let's break it down a little bit. earlier I mentioned John Doe, who sometimes acts as an officer, right? An officer is a title. When we're mano a mano, man to man, you won't hear me reference the title so much because the title gives them the excuse for what they consciously would not otherwise do. I don't think any agent and agency would wander around without a badge, a gun, and a costume and just go randomly stealing shit from people. Morally, it's wrong. Ethically, it's wrong. And they know that it's wrong. But somehow, when that jackass puts on a badge and a costume, he thinks that it's perfectly acceptable to steal from another man. And it's not. So I identify the man, and I also go ahead and make reference to the title for sometimes which he acts through. But ultimately, the title is not liable for the damage or the harm caused. It's the man who brought conscience and action through title that caused me harm. And that's who I'm going to fix the liability to. Does that make sense? I hope this is helping you guys out. This is why class is so important. These are the things that we go over to help you ascend of the mind to be able to protect your friends, your family, and your estates. All right? So thanks for joining me today. I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. I hope this example helps you out, a little Q&A, kind of help to open your mind, to broaden your horizons, to help you stop having such tunnel vision, believing that the government is the end-all, be-all, and they know all and they're showing you all, because they're not. They're operating through deceit. They're operating through coercion. They're operating through theft. The bankers own all your politicians. They own all governments around the world. And the funniest thing about it is they're insolvent. Don't tell anybody. They're absolutely freaking insolvent. They have nothing but a putrid amount of lies that they have based their ideology off of, that somehow the people of the world have become ingrained in. And it's time to reverse the polarity, take back control, because ultimately we are the ones to blame for the misery that we waller in. So stand up, be proud of yourself, realize that 90% of the shit you've learned in your life is a lie, and take it in a stride. When you hit a plateau, seek other views to bring together and conceptualize the truth. The truth is, I've created none of this. The law I simply stand upon. I enforce the law, not statutes, codes, city ordinances, or provisions. That's none of my business. That's corporate policy. That's public policy. That has absolutely nothing to do with me as a man. All right? So the law is very simple. Do no harm. Trespass on no one. Take no one's property ever for any reason without asking, without compensating, right? So thanks again for your time. Really look forward to seeing you guys September 19th at class. There's a donation that needs to be made. It's on my wall. You can scroll through. You'll see the class being projected out there on my Facebook wall if you care to join. September 19th, we're going to be covering trust law, how to create a trust, and also equity, the exclusive jurisdiction of equity. We're going to go into how America kind of found her way using the European laws, because we were a blank canvas. And some of the European laws made sense and had practical application over here, right? Because they followed God's law to a degree. And then we come later to discover, right? Man discovers. We don't create, we discover. We come to discover the exclusive jurisdiction of equity and how glorious it is, because it's handed down to us by our Heavenly Father, and it's just so powerful, so beautiful. These are things you'll never learn in church, because the 501c3s are nothing more than propaganda to socially engineer the masses so that the masses will follow government. You know, the Roman Catholic Church and Rome work hand in hand together to socially engineer society to do what they wanted. And Rome said, hey, Catholic Church, as long as you're willing to work with us, you can make a little bit of profit off their labor too, and we'll allow you to be tax-free. But should you ever come to odds with us, make no mistake about it, we will go to war with you. So the churches, the synagogues, have been working against the people from the beginning of time. And it tells you that in the good book. It tells you to be weary of those false prophets. It tells you to be weary of the system that has been created around us, Babylon, that has tricked us, that has played games on our mind to the point where we can't see with clear vision anymore. So look forward to seeing you guys September 19th. Have a wonderful, blessed day. Listen to this over and over and over again, because what I just told you will help you prevail in your court cases.